0870.
We're back. Doug Sinceri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. You can give us a call at 260-1870 or toll free 866-889-0870. You can also text us at 870-870. And we'll answer any legal questions. Talk a little bit about the Saints. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you this. I got to tell you this because I don't see. Did I tell you this at work? Your sister came by and brought you a pillow from the hotel.
My pillow. Yes, she did. Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
You're at the St. Paul's reunion, right?
Right. We stayed at the Southern Hotel, which is very nice. If anybody's on the North Shore, they'd say it was a hotel back at the turn of the last century, and it became the courthouse. We would go over there, and it was actually a courthouse annex. They had some judges' chambers in there and some courtrooms, and it was for as long as I could remember. And then when they built the big old courthouse across the lake in St. Tammany in Covington, they renovated this hotel, and they did a great job. I mean, it's a real simple, the colors are simple, but there's nice art in there, and bars are kind of a fun place to go.
So you just stayed there one night?
Just stayed one night, yeah, and we left my pillow.
Yeah, well, she also brought you blankie. And you had like a little teddy bear.
Yeah, she brought all that.
So that's a good big sister. So anyway,
yeah, she lives across. What happened? That we stayed there once before from my high school reunion, and then we went most recently. They had a cystic fibrosis fundraiser over there, so my brother was going with his family, and my nephew was involved in doing a lot of work towards it. So we went and spent the night. And the time we went before, the pillows are about 2 feet tall and very firm. And so I thought, I was getting a crick in my neck.
What was wrong with the blankets? Who brought you blankets?
And they didn't have a teddy bear, so.
Yeah, I mean, why'd you bring? That's the other thing. You had Aaron. There's no reason to bring a teddy bear. But that's I shouldn't have said that. That's just between us. Just between us. But let's talk a little bit. You want to talk about the Saints a little bit?
Yeah, I unfortunately I missed the game a little bit, a little of it. It was on the TV, but I was serving steaks to a bunch of friends over at the lake house. We had our fantasy football draft party, and pre-draft. We don't draft yet, which is where we come up with team names. It's an excuse to kind of get together and have a good time. But yeah, it was hot as can be, so we did most of it inside, and set up the big screen and had a good time. But we watched some of the game. I have it recorded. I'm going to go watch the rest of it.
Now there was some talk. Today. There was some talk about even if they didn't really want to play Drew, if they were playing Greg Williams, because Greg Williams is notorious for blitzing the first preseason game. If you remember when they played the 49ers 3 years ago, the first preseason game in a dome, they just killed. I think they just killed.
Kaepernick.
I think Stephen Smith. No, it was before Kaepernick.
Oh, it was Smith.
Well, Kaepernick played, but I think he was either
Alex
second.
Smith.
Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith's the ESPN commentator, but they blitzed him and they ended up killing him. And it looked like San Francisco wasn't going to win a game all year, and they ended up going to the playoffs.
Right.
And so they, but that turned out to be a non-event. He just went to the tunnel and left.
This Brandon Cooks kid looks pretty good.
He's a real
deal. Looks like the real deal.
He's a Sean Jackson. This is Sean Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson, who can run routes. Deshaun Jackson, you just flare him out and get him the ball and run. But this guy can actually, as Mike Detillier was saying, he's a great route runner. He can break. He can get out of his cuts without a large change of speed, because a lot of the fast guys, they have to they sort of get choppy when they make their cuts.
Right.
And they're fast, but they're not quick.
Which again, is going to take a lot. And we had this conversation talking to our sales manager here, Emile Gauthier, that I think Drew Brees is going to be a learning curve, because he's got a different set of receivers. He doesn't have Lance Moore. He's got Cooks. He's got, he's going to have guys that, have so much more speed now and different, The good news about Cooks is that he is such a consistent and good route runner. You throw into a spot. I mean, you throw to a spot before they make their cut. And so when I throw to a spot, when Colston's running a route, I'm going to throw to a different spot than Brandon Cooks is, because Cooks is going to get there quicker. And so, and it may be 5 yards further out, So I think that the fact that he missed some practices and that he's got this issue, it's just going to take some. It's going to take a few weeks, I think, to get caught up and get used to throwing it to that speed. He's been notorious. Drew Brees, I think, has been notorious for underthrowing the speedy receivers. He did that to what's his name, LSU receiver.
Man, you tough.
No, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but he underthrows the deep ball sometimes.
Oh.
And so, I think with Brandon Cooks, he may do that. Joe Morgan made a great catch one time because he underthrew him, and two guys came over his back, and he went to the end zone. So you just, and again, he's one of the best ever. Don't get me wrong.
Man, you that and Les Miles, you see red, or you.
No, listen. Here's the other thing. The other issue with Drew Brees' game a ball, his ball fakes are terrible.
Oh my goodness,
they're terrible. He puts the ball out like it's a play action pass, and the running back's 2 yards away from him. You watch Peyton Manning do that. He's a master at it. And I'm not saying he's better than Drew Brees. I'm just saying in this part of the game, he'll hold the defender, the corner, the safety looking at that backfield for that extra half second. And a half second's a couple of yards when you're a wide receiver and trying to break loose from a corner or a safety. So, give me a hold of Drew Brees. I'll teach him right. I'll show him what to do.
That's right. Well, your passing career at St. Paul. This is coming from a guy at St. Paul when it was 3rd and 27. They still ran the belly up the middle because of your passing problems.
I couldn't throw it 27 yards.
Right. So they stacked 11 on the line. They didn't even have a safety.
Yes, they did.
So they knew that. But that's because you went to the J.C. Watts Passing Academy. Exactly. That was before the Archie Manning passing. Because J.C. Watts, as great as he was, I think he threw for about 250 yards his entire career. But
anyway, no. But and he's got a little problem playing in the rain. Other than that.
All right, we got this.
He's the greatest.
and also, let's hear about the cold weather now too.
And cold weather's a problem.
The Saints. I guarantee you, if the Saints had you with Mickey Loomis during the negotiation with his agent, he would have probably got $10 million left after hearing that critique.
They need to hire me.
My goodness. But anyway, I think they got this from what the sports guys are saying, which none of them are here right now. They're all in West Virginia, just having a good time, hoping the week doesn't end. Is this has the same kind of feel as the 2009 training camp? That not a lot of controversy. The defense is on the rise. It's just got a feel to it that things are sort of coming together. There's no obvious weaknesses. Some of the weaknesses have been shored up. The big question marks was left tackle with Armstead, which is looking like that's shored up.
Right.
The center position looks good. If you look at Jonathan Goodwin, I think if Lolito's not ready, if you look at him, his flexibility is still great. Mm-hmm. And if you ISO on him, it doesn't look like they could probably get another good year out of him.
Yeah.
So there's really no predominant weaknesses.
No, they stay healthy. Like I said, I think they're 14-2 and get the first round bye.
You want to do predictions?
I did.
You said 14-2.
And that's generous. It might be closer to 13-3, but they don't play Manning, they don't play Brady, they don't play Seattle. They do play San Francisco, they do play Green Bay, and they play Carolina twice. So I think they probably split with Carolina and maybe lose one of those games with Green Bay or Atlanta. Or San Francisco. Cincinnati's going to be a tough team this year. They're pretty underrated. You don't want to overlook them. But otherwise, if all is right with the world, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to go 14-2.
Two cold weather games. There's Pittsburgh and Chicago. And
but Chicago's not in Pittsburgh's on his way down.
But according to you, Drew has a horrible time in the cold. So
well, he's had trouble winning in the cold weather.
Man, you tough.
Just look at the facts. Look, he's one of the best ever. I'm not going to dispute that, but. If he's got to do something to improve his game, to keep playing to 45,
And you tough. Jeez, tough.
And he needs to be able to play in cold weather.
Man, I got no complaints against Drew. That's for the record.
Look, I'll take him any day of the week.
All right. Dude, now we're finishing our set. You know, my disciplinarian at my kid's school, when we had book day, he says, I listen to y'all on Sundays, and I have no idea what y'all talk about. So we finished I have no idea what you're talking about segment. And it's WWL News Time, 8:31, and we're going to go to news with Don Ames. Good morning, Don.